Hi there, it's Lottie and today I am getting ready for the autumn. I'm going to dress my autumn garden up so that it looks beautiful and it's got colour in it. I'm going to do my hanging baskets today and I'm going to show you some really nice ideas on colour and also plants that you can use this time of year to really dress up your garden, make it look pretty and make it stand out from the rest. So I'm going to start off with my hanging baskets. I'm actually using an easy fill hanging basket. I bought this quite a long time ago, but you can get them off the internet quite easily. They're a really good system, so easy to use, and they're much easier than some of the wire hanging baskets, but really you could do this with any hanging basket. Just follow the same principles and the same combination and you'll get a really nice look for your garden. So to start with, we've got our hanging basket. I've just emptied this from the summer. I'm actually recycling half of the summer compost with half new compost. I'm using a brand called Jiffy. It's a really good professional standard compost and you can't get it really easily from shops, retail shops, but you can get it quite easily off the internet. So to begin with, I'm going to take a first load of compost to build up my first layer. Now if you were using a wire hanging basket, I would recommend lining it first with moss and then putting a little liner in the bottom, then doing your first layer of compost, and you can build up the layers that way. It's really simple. Again, you can apply this to a wire hanging basket or this easy fill basket that I'm using. So I'm actually going to fill my first layer up to where my first gaps appear. I have got some beautiful pansies. Now if I bring that a bit closer, have a look. Stunning colours, really deep blue topped with a light blue. Really pretty, and I got this from my local nursery, so they are locally grown. I think that's quite important to try and support local growers if you can. If not, you can get them from a local garden centre. So I'm just going to pop out a few to get started. A good way to check if your plant is healthy. You've got this nice root ball, nice and white fresh roots. They're not too thick, but they're thick enough that you've got a nice healthy chunky plant. So if they start looking yellow, it's not the best choice, but you can always bring it back round with a bit of TLC. I've got mine in a polystyrene case, so I'm just taking off that polystyrene that came from the bottom of the container it was in. And what I'm going to do, the great thing with this basket, they feed in really easily. If you're using a wire hanging basket, you could also feed them in from the side, but you might just need to tear off a little bit of the root to make sure that it fits in before you put the plant in. Always, little tip, always put your plant in from the front through to the back. That way you do minimal damage to the actual plant that you're putting into the side of the hanging basket. So I'm going to pop that in, nestle them in nicely, and the easy fill comes with this prefabricated gate which just pops in to the gap. But if you were using a wire hanging basket, you would manoeuvre the moss out the way, pop your plant in and then put your moss back round and then backfill with compost, and that will hold it in. This is nice. I like this design because it's secure, and once the plants get going it really fills out beautifully. So what I'm going to do, I'm not just going to put pansies around the side, I'm going to mix it up a bit as well. So I've got some beautiful ivy. Now this is slightly different. I actually found this again from the same nursery, local nursery, and rather than the sort of normal yellow and the normal white variegation, this one is a little bit more spiky in the leaf. So it's a little bit more ornamental. Really like that, really nice. Now ivy seems to have gone up in price quite a bit. Before you could get it really cheap per pot, sort of 50, 60p. Now it's about £1.29. It's not, you know, loads, but it's considerably more than it was. But if I break that apart, you can see there's more than one plant there. Now what I recommend doing if you are on a budget and you don't mind waiting is to break them up into smaller chunks. So I've got two teeny weeny little plants in there that I've broken up away from the main, and now I've got two plants from the one. So that way you're gaining more value for money. But if you want a full look quickly, then I suggest just putting the whole plant in through the gap in one go. So I'm popping that in the side, and again I'm going to clip him into place. So I'm going to continue going through the basket all the way around until I'm full on my first level.
So now to break up some of the pansies, I'm going to add in a beautiful heuchera. It's got gorgeous foliage and looks fantastic throughout the winter season. Then I'm just going to fill in the rest of the gaps with more of these beautiful pansies. And that is our first layer done. So now I'm filling up the top of the hanging basket, and this is going to be our second and final layer.
Right, So now what I'm going to do is plant the top, and to go as a bit of a contrast against that deep purple euchera, we've got this gorgeous Festuca glauca. It's beautiful frosty looking foliage. It's so cool, really nice little contrast, and that's going to add a bit of a centerpiece to our hanging basket, slightly more to where the back of your hanging basket is going to be, I would suggest. So let's have a think. For ivy there, 2 pansies, yep, so about here, slightly off centre towards the back, because that's where you want your height, and in she goes. So now I'm going to fill up the rest of this with some more pansies to give it that real boost of colour. I'm actually trying to plant in between, so you're alternating where the plants are below, so then you've got cover to cover here and then to cover it in front and up top of it, so it just gives you that ultimate sort of colour all round the basket. Just look at that, so stunning, beautiful. Let's go in again. Where's our middle point? Here it is. Pop that in there. So if you're looking for this variety down the garden centre or your nursery or even online, it's actually called Beaconsfield. It's a really nice variety, it's a good garden performer, it's been around for quite a while, but for me it still looks fresh, it's timeless, it's a lovely palette of colours of blue and blue tones. It can really offset against, you know, light blues and dark purples. Then we can get another couple in there. So that's our top layer done, and now I'm going to put some more compost in to fill in where the gaps are, and then I'll be putting my chains on ready to hang up. I'm just sort of tucking them in a little bit, nice and gently, just to make sure they're nice and secure in there, but not too firmly that they're congested. I'm not filling all the way up to the very top of the hanging basket. I'm leaving about 1/2 centimetre, 3/4 centimetre from the top. That just allows for when you water, the water goes into the basket rather than over the top of the basket, and the water's wasted and the plants aren't watered. This time of year not so bad, because you don't actually have to water as much as you would in the summer because of the weather, but it's still worth doing it. There we go, that's done. So now we're going to put our chains on. There we go, that's our finished hanging basket. So I'm going to make another 2 of those, and what will happen is this will start to spread out over the next few weeks. So this will settle in, it will start to spread. If you want to give it a feed, I'd probably use Grow More, not a high phosphate feed, because it will bloom, but you don't want it to go over the top just at the moment. So give it a good balanced feed of Grow More, which will cover the roots to get them settled in, and also it will promote flowering eventually, and they'll get going, but they're starting to flower already, so I'm not really worried about that. I just want to get the roots in nice and settled, so this gives you a nice full basket for the whole of the winter, and for the autumn, a nice bit of autumn colour.
Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this DIY. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel for more garden DIYs and home DIYs, and also please like this video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below if there's any other gardening videos you'd like me to do.